When did breaking a rule literally save your life? My mother wore a brass key around her neck that would one day save our lives. But first it nearly killed us. She never took it off. Not in the shower, not in bed. The leather cord had left a permanent mark on her skin from 13 years of never coming off. Growing up, we had one rule that mattered above all others. Nobody touches the key. When I was 6, I asked what it opened. She held my hand over the stove burner until the skin blistered and peeled. After that, I learned to look away when she leaned down. But Charlie was 8 and had autism and couldn't remember rules like that. She caught him staring at it during dinner. His eyes followed it as it swung forward when she reached for the salt. I saw her face change. She grabbed his jaw and slammed his face into the dinner table. The crack echoed. Blood splattered across his mac and cheese as she did it again. "You want it?" she screamed. "You think you deserve to look at what's mine?" The emergency room doctor bought her bike accident story. They always did. Charlie came home with his jaw wired shut and she made him write lines with his broken fingers anyway. The punishments in our house were specific. Hot spoons pressed into our arms for talking back. Bleach in the bath water for impure thoughts. Stand in the corner on one foot for 6 hours if you breathe too loud. She touched that key before each session like she was asking it permission. By the time I turned 14, I'd mapped every lock in our house. The key didn't fit any of them. Not the basement door, not her jewelry box, not the filing cabinet. Charlie thought it was for a safety deposit box. I thought maybe it was from her childhood home. We whispered theories at night when the house was quiet. The torture got worse as we got older. She'd make us kneel on rice for hours, put bars of soap in our mouths until we threw up, lock us in the basement freezer for 30-second intervals. Just enough to hurt, but not enough to cause damage anyone would notice. She was smart like that. One night she kept Charlie awake for 72 hours straight by spraying him with ice water every time his eyes closed. I listened to him sob through the walls while she laughed. Something in me snapped. We had to get out or we'd die there. That's when I started really planning. I got a job at McDonald's and hid cash in a tampon box under my bed. I researched youth shelters in other states, but minimum wage wasn't enough for 2 bus tickets and food and a place to stay. We needed more money. I found the floorboard by accident. She was at her Wednesday church meeting and I was stealing her sleeping pills to help Charlie rest. My foot hit a loose board in her closet. Underneath was a keyhole. She knew. She always knew everything. I woke up zip-tied in the basement. 1 week down there with nothing but water and stale bread. When she finally let me out, she was smiling. "Curiosity is a waste of time," she said. Remember that. 6 months later, she told us Charlie was too damaged to keep. Said she'd found a special facility upstate that could fix him, handle his issues better. I knew there was no facility. I'd heard her on the phone with someone asking about unmarked graves. That's when I put my plan into action. Every Friday, she drank herself stupid after hurting us. I'd been stealing her Ambien for months and grinding it into powder. That Friday, I put 20 pills in her vodka bottle. She took forever to pass out. I sat on the stairs counting her breaths until they got deep and regular. The key had fallen forward on its cord. I lifted it off her neck so slowly it took 5 full minutes. Charlie kept watch while I ran to her room. The floorboard came up easily. I turned the key and heard the lock click open. Inside was $30,000 in cash. Our birth certificates with different names. Adam and James Henley, not Charlie and Ryan O'Reilly. Our real parents' death certificates. Police photos of a car accident. 2 bodies in the front seats. At the bottom was adoption paperwork never filed and our father's service weapon. A Glock 19 with a full clip. She wasn't our mother. She was our father's sister. She'd culled them both and taken us and the survivor benefits. 9 years of checks meant for us. I stared at the gun for a long time. Part of me wanted to use it. End her like she ended them. But we weren't like her. I took the money and our real documents. Left the gun and evidence for whoever found it. We caught a Greyhound to Seattle at 3 a.m. and never heard from her again. Until a month later, when there was a knock at the door. It wasn't my mother. It was the police. Turns out she had used the gun to blow her brains out and even left a note behind. In it, she detailed how her sewer slide was all me and Charlie's fault. Full story on channel, link below.